welcome to this week's video. Now in this week's video, unusually for me, I have my finger right on the pulse. I'm going to be reviewing something that's only just come out, and that is the new Universal Audio guitar plugin, the Woodrow, which is their new version of the 55 Tweed Deluxe amp in plug-in version. So coming up in this video, I'm going to show you some examples of me using it on a live recording. I'm also going to demonstrate it on various guitars and go through some of the presets and the settings. This next boost, this is one that was made famous by The Edge, apparently. This is what an 80s mod. Also, I'm going to compare it to their previous version of their plugin of the same amp, which had less options, but it did sound good, so we're going to compare it to that as well. See how that compares to the previous version. So what we've got here, we've got the same mics. Now, a week or so ago, I just happened to do a live recording and video, and I took a DI of my guitar. Now, if you don't know what that is, let me explain. I had one signal going into a guitar amp, well actually it was into my quad cortex to get a guitar amp sound, and I sent a second signal into the desk that was being recorded independently of my guitar with no amp settings on it at all. I did have the wah-wah pedal going into it to get the different sounds. And I did this so when I mixed the recordings, I could use the sound of my quad cortex, and then I could apply a plug-in, for example the new UAD Woodrow plugin, on to get a multiple guitar amp sound. And this is fortunate because I didn't do it planning to do a review of this new plugin, but it's been very handy to have a look and see how it works in context with a live band on a live mix. I know they do this particular plugin as a pedal as well, so I just thought this was a useful thing to do. I'm just going to butt in here and just mention that I've got a library of video guitar lessons online. Beginning country guitar one, the newest one I've put up there is all about doing left hand damping, but I've got lots of other solos. I've got show you how to play the end solo from Sultans of Swing, a solo from Hotel California. I've got some Nile Rodgers funk stuff, various other stuff. There's some monthly subscriptions or some of the lessons you can buy separately, so go and check them out. They're on my website, iamtjwalker.com, and at the top of the page there's a little tab that says guitar lessons. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over to the computer. I've done a screen record of me showing my Cubase session with the plugin and showing you what I've done to it to get the different sounds, and then after that I'm going to show you some of the videos of me actually playing with the plugin put on top of the guitar sound so you can see it in context. Okay, before I show you the clips of the live recording, I'm going to show you how I've gone about adding the new Woodrow as my guitar sound. So when I recorded, I used my quad cortex. Let me solo that so you can hear that. Which I think is a pretty good sound. I am processing all this because this is a mix. I've processed all the drums and everything. Let me just play the whole mix with just the quad cortex actually. Let's mute my plug-in sound. So this is the sound of the basic recording using my quad cortex with the drums all mixed, etc. I've muted the vocal. And then so this is the quad cortex on its own. And what I've done, I've muted the quad cortex and I've added the Woodrow onto this channel. I had a DI guitar, so let me show you what this sound. If I turn off all the sound on this channel, this is what the guitar sounds like, the DI'd guitar. Twangy, man. And so I've added on there, I've put this neutron, that's just it's a kind of channel thing, it's a preset driven thing that kind of mixes the guitar, makes it sit in the mix, bit of compression, a bit of EQ, that kind of thing. We're not changing it massively. In fact, I can show you what it sounds like. I've also got the Galaxy Tape Echo on there, which is just adding a tiny bit of reverb in this instance, but earlier on, and I'll show you that in a sec, with the Gretsch I've added it as a slapback delay. So let me turn that off. Let me turn off the neutron, the processing, and just show you what it sounds like just with the amp. So then if I add in the neutron, it's just compressing it really, taking a little bit of the top end off I think. And then if I put that on, that's the Galaxy Tape Echo. It's just adding a bit of spring reverb. So that's what I'm doing. That's with the 335, and the settings I've got on the let me expand that. So that's just crunch, it says. So let me play you the solo, and then add on some different presets so you can just hear it playing. Let's now let me put it in context. Let's put it in with the bass and the drums. I think that'd be quite an interesting thing to do. Let's unmute that one. Let's go back a little bit further. Let's get that back up on screen. Where are you? There we go. Here we go. Let's go back to where we were. What were we on? First of all, crunch. Here we go. It's a really cool thing to be able to do, actually. I do like. I'm really glad I got this. This wasn't the reason I did this recording. I just happened to do it, and I thought I'm going to capture a DI because I can add a second amp sound. I like the sound of the quad cortex, but if you add a second amp sound, watch this space for what this video is going to be about. But I thought that was really interesting, and just to show you what I did on the Gretsch. Let's just minimise this again. So for the Gretsch sound, I wanted to get that kind of slap back tape echo delay thing. So I can't remember. Let me just check which sound I used. I'd probably use something fairly clean, maybe something like that. So let me just solo that, and then let me play it together, and let me show you what I'm doing with the tape echo. Off. Without. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, it's risky putting this solo on. Let me put this back onto reverb only. Right, I'm going to take a slight risk here and put this solo on. This is the Eagles, Don't Tell Don Henley. And to get that kind of sound, I used the Telecast, the Les Paul for this, which I think Joe Walsh used the Les Paul in the second solo. So let me just play that. So there, I do think it's useful, particularly in this context. I really like the sound of it. I got reasonable results actually with the Tweed 55 before I bought this, because this only came out yesterday. I was using the Fender for a couple of different things, and I've used the Dream amp as well, and I've used the Lion as a second sounding amp along with the quad cortex. I'm not muted the quad cortex in the final mix. I haven't done the final mixes, but in the working mixes. But being able to have this DI thing with these great guitar tones with the room thing in them, pan to the other side using that sort of 2 amp setup, a bit like Steve Ray Vaughan would have done, and lots of other people, I'm sure. It's a really good sound. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this, and I'm now going to show you what they sound like with the video. There we go, that's how I've got that sound. That's how I've managed to put this new plug-in on top of my guitar on this live recording that I did a couple of weeks ago. Now I'm going to show you the first clip. The first clip is using my Gretsch, and I was trying to go for that kind of Brian Setzery rockabilly sort of sound. So as I showed you in the video, I've got a Galaxy Tape Echo plug-in plus the Woodrow on it. I've muted out all the other guitar amp sounds just so you can hear this on its own, and I'm going to put on screen the settings that I had on the Woodrow for this one. So here we are, just a short clip of Mystery Train. Now this second clip, a bit of a higher gain thing, so with the humbuckers, with my 335, Clapton's Crossroads, or Cream rather than Clapton I suppose, and although I think he would have been using Marshalls on the original list, but I thought it was a good way to sort of demonstrate the sound, and a Tweed sound, a high gain sort of Tweed sounds, getting Marshally anyway. I think they were based on a similar circuit, or maybe that was the bass man. Anyway, whatever, I thought it was a good way of doing it. And this particular tone, I think this preset I used was called Woman Tone or something, which is obviously based on Clapton. So here we are, see what you think of this. This is, and I'm going to put the screenshot on screen as well so you can see what preset I used. Here we go, this is Crossroads on the 335. Finally, I thought I'd do a bit of Steve Ray Vaughan. I'm probably going to use, when I finalise this, the Dream plugin, because this has a Texas mod, and you can get that kind of, well, yes, I have got it down here, my vibroverb, that kind of clean Fendery sound that Steve Ray Vaughan, but he didn't use a clean Fendery sound, he drove his Fender and then had a Dumble as the clean. But anyway, you get that, it's got a kind of built-in Steve Ray Vaughan sound, but I thought this sounded really good with this as well, so I might even use this sound. So here we are, this is with a Strat, a slightly cleaner setup, and again I'll put the screenshot of the preset I was using. I thought that was a pretty useful demo, having that to see what this plugin sounded like. But now what I'm going to do on a couple of different guitars, on a Les Paul and a Telecaster, as I didn't use that on the live recordings, I'm going to go through some of the presets on the computer screen record. So here we go, I'm going to hand you over to myself on the computer for a little bit of a walkthrough of some of the different sounds. I'm going to crouch down to get into the picture here. I've set it like this so you can see the guitar. If you want to get all of me, and I've got to sit so far back I can't reach the computer to adjust the plug-in, which is the whole point of this. I had a bit of a technical issue when I first demoed these new UAD plugins, where I was getting the sound of my guitar over the microphone louder than the plugin, but I'm hopefully resolved that now. I've been using Cubase for 20 years and finally discovered where I was going wrong. Anyway, I've done a little bit of reading on what all these different controls do, so I think what we need to do is start with the stock speaker cabinet, which is not the JP12, or maybe it is, yeah, it's this JP12 with the SM57 and the ribbon mic. The difference with the different inputs is you get a fatter different sound. If you've got it plugged in too, I think that each individual control makes more difference and you get a clearer sound into input 1. So let's start on input 1. Let's start with just the instrument level up around 5. And I'm going to demonstrate this on different instruments to I'm using on the live video. So that's your fairly stock sound. can hear it's slightly lower gain, but if you just whack it right up, and then what you've got on each of these boosts, so let's turn the boost on. Now this is the stock boost. This next boost, this is one that was made famous by The Edge apparently. This is what an 80s mod. And this last one is using the Echoplex preamp as a boost. And you've got all these different speaker cabinets. So that's the stock speaker cabinet. This one is a 25 watt Celestion GB, so it's a British make. And these make a big difference, the cabinets. Then we've got a 4x12. Hear that bottom end, the sort of closed back bottom end there. Then we've got a Bassman 4x10. Oh yeah, that sounds very different. Then you've got the original cab, but with a changed JBL speaker in it, and the 414 mic and the 57 direct, so you've got no speaker at all. To get those nasty fuzzy sounds. I guess you can use a different speaker emulator on that as well if you wanted to. And then this is the 15 watt 12-inch speaker, which I think was in like the original maybe narrow panel Tweed. I'm not totally sure, but it's 12-inch speaker and a 15 watt one. And then we're back to the original. This is the stock one again. So let's try some of the presets. I always think the presets are great. I mean, I know how to dial in a guitar sound, but I always think it's, you know, the guys that write the software, they really know what they're doing. They've worked with this software and they know how to get good sounds out of it. So there's no point reinventing the wheel. I'll always start with a preset. So here we go. 1x12 GB25 off axis. So this will be a SM57. Put it on the neck pickup. Let's move through these presets. So there we go, get the idea. There's lots of different sounds. The presets sound great. And what I thought would be really interesting, I will swap guitars in a minute, but before I do that, on this guitar, I'm going to compare this to the previous iteration of the 55 Tweed plugin. So let's set this to, so let's go for the stock cabinet. Let's set both of these to 7, tone on 7. Let's see how that compares to the previous version. So what we've got here, we've got the same mics. Let's unmute that mic. Not quite sure how the level's set on these, so let's set them equally. And let's set the tones and the volumes the same. And it's going into input 1. JP12, same setting. Oh, hang on, let me turn it on. A lot louder, let's turn it down a bit. Let's go back to the other one. Difficult, isn't it? The levels are very different. Let's whack the level up. Whack it right up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the room out. Which I would say, I think the room feature on this absolutely makes it, really. Although I've got the Sound City plugin, which means you can put room on it anyway, but let's go back to the other one. The other one sounds a bit more driven at the same level. I've got them set the same, or maybe just a tiny bit. They do both sound good. I think the thing is with this room, I do like that more, and I don't know if you've got the option for the other cabinets on this one either. No, I don't think you have. So you've got the options for the different. You have got 3 different settings. So you've got the Celestion, you've got the modified JBL speaker, and the stock speaker. So you have got 3 of the options. So there's just a few more features, plus the room thing on this, plus these different boosts which you don't have on the old one. But the old one actually does sound fairly similar in a lot of ways. So let me change over to my Telecaster now. So these aren't stock Telecaster pickups, these are Joe Barden, Danny Gatton pickups, but they are single coils and they do sound, they've just got more definition than a standard single coil. So let's have a look at some of these. Let's have a look at a clean sound. Let's go classic clean. I've been puzzling there. It's because the output of the guitar is so much lower, even though I've whacked the output right up. And I could whack the input up, but it does tell you not to. But let's just to compensate. There we go. There's a classic clean. What else have we got here? Spank rhythm. Woodrow GB clean. This is using the Celestion speaker with the 80s preamp boost. Right, let's have a look at some more driven sounds. Let's have a look at a crunch option. What have we got here? British stack. Single coil neck pickup. What's this one? Punk rock. Boost on full with the Echoplex booster with the Celestion speaker and the instrument volume on full. I like that. That's a good one. Woodrow 55. Let's try that. Let's try some of the heavier ones. What did I have there? That was crunch. Let's try some overdrive. Dirty blue tone. What's that? That one. Woman tone lead. That's the one I used on the live one with the 335. So let's just do a comparison with the single coils. Let's turn the room off. Let's set it to, let's go GB25 because we can copy that on the previous one. Let's turn the boost off so we're just on standard settings. Let's put everything on 7. Going into number 1, so let's have a listen to that. Bridge pickup. turn up the output because I know the other one's going to be louder. Right, let's go to the other previous model. Set it the same. Let's put it on the GB25. Maybe that other one sounds a bit better, but you haven't got this room thing. But as I said before, you can put that on with a different bit of software, but all the other options. But actually, tell you what, that wasn't a fair comparison because that's got 2 mics on it. Let's take that mic off. Let's go back to this one. This one sounds better when you do that. Is there an option to have 2 mics on that cabinet? No, just the one. So there we go. That's comparing the 2 products, and one with single coils, one with humbuckers. The old one does sound good, but you've got more options on this new one. I do prefer the interface on this new one. The levels seem much quieter on the new one. I don't know why, but I'm glad I got this. I got it as part of a bundle because I already bought the other one, so I got it for $29 or something. I think they're worth having. I do like the room thing, and they do make it sit nicely in the mix when you've got that. Well, I hope that was useful and gave you a kind of good insight into how this new plug-in sounds. I think it sounds very good. I have to say, I don't use this Tweed sound quite as often on recordings as I do some of the other kind of plug-ins. I used to use the Buxom Betty quite a lot because I like that sort of clean sound that it has on it. But now I've got all these others. I've got the Vox one, the Marshall. I've got all of them because I bought this as I got a deal on it because I bought the other 3. They gave you a $29 upgrade to get this extra new plug-in, which was quite handy. But I think I will use this. This seems more usable than the previous version, I think, because it's got the different speaker cabinets, so you can voice it more appropriately to fit in your mix. So I shall look forward to using this in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video. I bring out new videos at 7 PM UK time every Friday, so I hope to see you next week.